and this is a subjective opinion, but I encourage you to do it. Have you read the redacted, or have you read the unredacted report?
I have copies of it.
But have you read it?
No.
Okay. And it's not my place to tell you what to do. But I think if you, before you read the unredacted report, if you read the redacted first, and you ask yourself, you know, if someone with ill intentions had this report, you know, someone who would want to damage the United States, had this redacted report, is the information that's redacted sufficient to prevent them from understanding what nuclear plants are in jeopardy?
Is that based on your opinion or on specific information that you have?
There again, that is my opinion, and if you read that report, it might be your opinion, and it might not be.
But is it your role and your position at the NRC to make that determination?
When you say role, are you saying official role, or are you saying my obligation?
You're a government employee. Everything that you do at the NRC is official.
Okay, then yes. All right.
Why?
Why? Because as a nuclear professional, as a professional engineer, as a federal employee, it is my role to look into things that I am concerned about when I don't believe my agency is functioning adequately.
Now, how's the best way to do that?
That's really up to a lot of people, and you know, you got 3,000 people in this agency. You'll have 3,000 opinions on that. But
and is it Larry Criscione's sole opinion that out of those 3,000 people in this agency, there's only one or two people, being you and Mr. Perkins perhaps, that would know what is proper to be redacted and unredacted out of a report GI 204?
That is not my opinion. I think there's a lot of people. I think that if you know, that report I found out later was redacted by my boss, Ben Beasley, and I think that if you'd given it to Mr. Perkins to redact, you'd probably have different things taken out of it. If you gave it to me, you had different things. If you gave it to Randy Sullivan, you'd have different things out of it.
But the decision is to be made by specific parties at the NRC, FOIA office and OGC. There's a concurrence process that is used before that report goes out.
Okay.
Are you saying that someone intentionally mischaracterized that information?
No.
Then why would they be wrong in redacting that information?
Because they mischaracterized it, not necessarily intentional. But you use the word intentional. That's not my accusation. My accusation is that we don't have very good guidance on how to do these FOIA redactions. We don't have very good guidance on how to determine what's OUO, and I think we have some process problems here.
I'm just finding it very difficult to believe. You're a very smart man, okay? You're an engineer, okay? You work at the NRC. You have people that have worked in the industry for years coming to you to get a professional opinion for you on something that you don't even have input on. And I think you're going to sit here and tell us that it was not your intent by sending this to Congress to get it out to the media. I don't know if I believe that story.
Okay.
And if it's just based on your opinion that this is information that should not be redacted, because obviously I'm looking at what you're saying in totality and saying it's not, the NRC is not correct in redacting that information. But you're not basing it on anything specific. You're basing it on opinion. You don't know a threat level to, what is the threat level of the United States right now? I don't even know it. Do you know it?
No.
Do you know that there's any intelligence concerning bombing or sabotaging of dams?
I don't know.
I don't. Do you?
No.
Then what would qualify you, Larry, to make that decision?
Did you read my letter to Boxer and to Lieberman?
Now I'm asking you, what qualifies you to make that decision for the NRC of what should and should not be redacted?
Nothing, but I don't make that decision.
Exactly. You do not make that decision.
Right.
There are other people that do make that decision.
And I didn't even pretend to make that decision in any of the letters that I've written. They all state that I don't know if there's a security threat. What I do know
So
is
we can just
I've
send
seen
out-
I haven't seen any documents indicating that we've even studied it.
So we can just send out a document to Congress, and then using your own words back, if I pull it up in the transcript, that somehow you believe that it would make it to the public, your message and Mr. Perkins' message would be loud and clear. That the NRC is covering things up. They're not caring about the safety and the welfare of people that live in that area. Was that your intent? Because everything else to me, and I can't speak for anyone else at this table, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Agent, it's just fine that it doesn't make sense to you. This is Randy Sullivan. If you're asking for information, we're happy to help you out. If you have opinions, that's just fine.
No, I'm trying
the guy
to
has
Mr.
told
Sullivan,
me.
I'm trying to get to a determination of why this information went out, where it went, and who has it.
He told you where it went out. It went to Congress. He wanted to attract Congress' attention. You've been told that.
I also need to know why.
Because
That's
he
part of
believes
it.
deeply that this is a nuclear safety issue, and his nuclear safety
Now,
professionals...
Mr. Sullivan, if you want to have a conversation with me off the record, we can end this conversation, go out in the hall, and discuss this all day long.
Okay,
All right?
we can.
I'm asking.
I'm asking you not to badger the individual.
I'm
If you
not
have
badgering.
information-
I'm trying to figure out why, and I haven't heard why. I haven't heard a why.
Why is a reasonable question?
Could you repeat something other than why, though? I just
Why did you send it? He asked you.
That's actually not my question, Mr. Sullivan. Like I said, if you want to have a conversation about my
Agent, if you want to
direction,
ask him a question,
by all
ask
means,
him
I
a
will do
question.
that. I've been asking him questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
could you repeat your question for me now?
Absolutely. I'll withdraw the question.
Okay.
Agent Wallace?
I've got a few items to follow up on, and when
Could I say something, though, based on this last conversation? I just want to reiterate that I felt I had an obligation as a federal employee who had concerns about the way my agency was, the processes were working, both transparency and evaluation of safety concerns and evaluation of security concerns. All right, and I wrote the chairman on that. I copied congressional staffers on that. I separately wrote the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, and I separately wrote the Environment and Public Works Committee. And I feel I have an obligation and a right, but even further than a right, an obligation to interact with our congressional overseers. Now, if they don't want to engage me, and have an inquiry or whatever, that's really the business of Congress. It's not me to judge what's their priority. But I brought this to their attention to make them aware of it. So,
The agents have more questions. We should let them get on with it.
yeah, sir.
many people believe that you are directly responsible for Greenpeace and Huffington Post receipt of the unredacted GI 204 report and posting that report for the public's consumption.
Is that
What do you have to say to
Okay.
refute that?
Can you say that again?
Many people believe you're directly responsible for that report being posted online and being provided to Greenpeace and the Huffington Post.
Yeah, I guess you really have to ask them why they come up with that opinion. But I will state that.
Well, you've told me you didn't say no. I'm not responsible. So that you're not coming out and telling me that. That tells me something. I've got another follow-up question.
Oh, hold on.
Did you have any
accusation?
Stop. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to make some accusations because I think you've taken some steps that you haven't fully thought through, or maybe you have.
Well, can I
The
answer?
question is, did you have any conversations or lead anyone to believe that they should or would be condoned to release this unredacted report? With a congressional member or congressional staffer? Did you have any conversations to lead them to believe that if this should become public information, so be it?
No, I have not.
You have not.
That's correct.
When did you realize that the Huffington Post posted this report online?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember when the article came out. Was it in October?
There was another one in December.
Please, just answer
Yeah.
the agent's question.
I know. I'm thinking though. I mean, this was like 3 months
You
ago.
don't know, you don't know.
I think probably the morning that the report came out, is when I first saw it. The morning the article came out is when I first saw it, and I did note that there was a link to those documents.
What'd you do about it?
Yeah, I don't recall
Did you feel responsible
that there was an article written about this.
that those documents were made public? Did you feel responsible?
Yeah, that's going back to that first question too about many people believe whatever.
Do you feel responsible for this report being made public?
It was not my intent.
You're the only subject of this investigation. I'm asking you, do you feel responsible? Yes or no?
It was not my intent to release this document through some unofficial channels to the public. All right.
It may have not been your sole intent, but you knew it was a possibility.
Right.
And you were okay with it.
I believe
You made a concerted decision to push this report out there.
Larry, you
Yes or
stated
no?
in an email that you were
Yes or no?
that you thought you were going to be fired for this.
I think I might have stated that in the letter to the chairman, but
You told that to the chairman, so you thought through these consequences.
I considered that if I went to Congress with my concerns, that it is possible that it would have been made public. And I do admit that had I not gone to Congress, in all likelihood this report would have never made it into their hands, and it would have never made it into the hands of the public. And so if that's where you're getting at, then yes, someone could make the claim that I am responsible for that. Now, another definition of responsible is, are you the one who made it public? And that's a categoric no. All right, I did not. But if you want to say I'm responsible because
There's a lot of links in this chain, and you're the first link to release that report out of this agency.
Right.
Are you responsible?
I'm responsible for releasing that report out of this agency.
In an unredacted form.
That's correct.
And ultimately, you may be responsible for it being posted to the public on the Huffington Post and Greenpeace. Is that too far of a jump?
I think it's a little bit of a jump, but
when you released it to Congress that it was a possibility that protected information would be released, you didn't take any steps to protect it. You didn't communicate to the staffers that this information must be protected. Did you? You told me earlier in this interview you did not. Other than the documents were stamped, and you assume. Did you seek supervisory approval prior to releasing non-public information beyond the NRC?
I already answered that, but the answer is still no, I did not seek supervisor approval.
Did you seek ethics advice from the NRC Office of the General Counsel Ethics Officer regarding the release of non-public information?
I did not.
On any of these releases?
No, I've never met with them.
Do you normally, in the course of your official duties, release protected NRC information?
No.
Agent Esmond's already asked if you've been trained as a FOIA official. And other than the one time, do you normally determine what is releasable as a normal course of your duty?
Everyone in research, if they're assigned a FOIA, I think, does that. But I mean, it's only happened to me once, so I can't say it's a normal course of my duty. But I mean, it's part of my normal duties to process the FOIA if I need to.
Okay. Agent Esmond mentioned in your letter to the chairman, you stated you expect to lose your job.
I don't think that's my exact words. I don't have that. Do you have that letter to the chairman?
I do not have it with me, but how do you? What did you tell her with respect to your job in releasing this information?
But here again, I'm speaking without that letter in front of me. But I believe I said that if I were to release this to the public, I would probably lose my job. So.
Do you expect to be disciplined for any matters?
No, I don't. I mean, I think that I think that official use only documentation is allowed to go to congressional oversight committees, and I don't expect to be disciplined for approaching my Congress.
Are you worried about retaliation?
Yeah.
Has the NRC taken any actions against you?
Not yet.
With regard to information, could you describe your training as a derivative classifier of information?
I have none.
Okay, so when information is received, say from DHS, and it's stamped in a classified manner, how are you to treat that information?
Well, and here again, I used to be the top secret control officer on the USS Georgia, but that was 15 years ago. I have not seen a classified document since 1998. But secret documents are supposed to be stored in safes.
When you receive a secret document, say from Department of Defense, we receive it here at the NRC, how is that document to be treated?
Well, it's supposed to be stored in a safe that has a regular lock check on it. There's transmission and courier rules, which I really don't know from memory. I don't handle classified information, but
what I'm getting at is any information in that report that's classified secret, or whatever classification it is, if we use that information, what safeguards do we have to afford that information in our product?
Okay, I'm sorry. I think I do understand that. Secret documents, unlike OUO documents, are portion marked. And if you take something from a secret document that's...
I'm not talking about portions. If the whole document is classified OUO, how do you have to treat that information?
Okay, now you were talking about classified. Are we talking about OUO or classified information?
I'm talking about general classification of information.
Okay.
To get to the point, you understand if it's classified secret, it has to be protected as secret. If that information is moved to another document, it's still secret information.
No, hold on a second. Just because it came out of a secret document, you could have a paragraph in a secret document that's portion marked as unclassed.
You could.
And you don't have to say that this came out of a secret document. You can just take it. Now, if you take something that's portion marked as secret, then you have to make your document secret, and you have to portion mark the sections as secret.
If it's not portion marked, but the overall document is classified secret, how do you treat the information?
I don't know if that's allowed.
How do you treat that information?
I guess it's all treated as secret, but I don't think that that's allowed. I think
based on your training.
Based on my training, I'm used to portion markings. And you know what's secret, you know what's top secret, you know what's unclassed.
And that secret, that information remains at classification until somebody declassifies it.
That's right. And if you're taking something out of a top secret pub, but it's classified as secret, that doesn't make your new document top secret because it came out of a top secret pub. It makes it secret.
Right.
We have portion markings in the military for classified information. And we keep using this term classified as OUO. OUO is not a classification. It's a designation, and it's not portion marked, and that's a big part of the problem.
It's a designation to protect information. And when we're talking critical infrastructure information, we've got guidance on how to protect that information. When you're talking specific times to core meltdowns, that could lead to motivation for targeting information. What is your role to protect OUO SRI information and information designated 10 CFR 2.390?
Well, I'm not supposed to release it to unauthorized people.
Okay. Have you worked as an intelligence analyst?
I have not.
What is your experience in working with the intelligence community information?
I don't know if I have any. I might have though. But when I was on the USS Georgia, we had classified information. Some of it probably came from intelligence agencies. I can't really state. I just know that we handled it, and there was a certain way to handle top secret. It didn't matter if it came from intelligence or if it came from atomic energy information. It was handled as top secret. And there was special compartmentalized information. I don't think I ever encountered that in the military, but that was on a strict need to know.
No, the military also had official use only information too, right?
It did, yeah.
What protections were provided that information?
Basically, it couldn't be thrown away. It had to end up in a shredder or burn bag, and it couldn't leave the ship or the building, whatever. But it didn't have to be locked up.
Would there be a need to know requirement for official use only?
Not that I'm ever aware of, no.
Do you have access to current?
And by the way, that need to know in the military, I never heard it applied to confidential information, and it might have applied to secret, but when we talk about need to know, we're usually talking about top secret
Or SCI or
yeah.